This is a bit of a change of scenery. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is not a green screen. I am in Park City, Utah, and it's a frigid 25-ish degrees here, I believe. So I'm bundled up, obviously, but this is just great scenery. You've got Lake Jordanelle, and more mountains over this way. You've got Park City and canyons over this way. So I figured while I'm here, I could put this scenery in the background. And now let's actually hop into the football. So, little recap from last week. The Falcons beat the Bears. Geez, I mean, the Bears are just so hard to predict this year and such a weird team. Justin Fields carried the ball 18 times, and their leading pass catcher was David Montgomery with 3 catches for 54 yards. The Bills narrowly escaped against the Browns, which was pretty surprising. It looked like for a little bit they were going to lose that game. And then the Eagles just barely escaped the Colts for their second win. I know a lot of people kind of seemed like the Eagles were going to lose. I think a few people were predicting that. Marcus Jones had the game-winning punt return against the Patriots. If you saw my short, then you've seen that. But that was pretty crazy. I was watching that whole game, and he basically walked it off with 5 seconds left. And the Vikings just, I don't even know what happened to them that weekend. I mean, 40-3, they're 8-1. Their only loss is to maybe the best team in the league, the Eagles, and they go out and lose 40-3 at home. Joe Burrow did have that great stat line that I predicted. He got a win 37-30. That's very promising for Bengals fans, especially when they're getting Jamar Chase back in the next few weeks. Mahomes led a game-winning drive in what proved to be another great Chiefs-Chargers game. They got that win on Sunday night. And that's pretty much all I have for last week, so let's hop into the video. Also started off by saying if it seems like I'm shivering or I'm slightly out of breath, then that's probably the case, but it's alright. If you've ever seen me in real life, I'm always wearing shorts, and I have like 3 layers under now, so I'm good. So, Thanksgiving games started off with Bills at Lions, and the Lions have won, I believe, 3 in a row. They move into second in actually a decent NFC North. 3 teams are below 500, but that doesn't really tell the whole tale here. All 3 teams that are below 500 really can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody. And I don't think the Lions have any business beating the Bills or even really playing this game close. The line is minus 9.5, and I think that's about perfect for this game. Bills get a win over the Lions. Next game is Giants-Cowboys, and this is going to be an interesting one. The Cowboys are coming off, obviously, that huge win against the Vikings. And the Giants just narrowly escaped the Texans and got pounded by the Lions. So, after being 7-2, now they're 7-3, and they're going to be 7-4 after this week. I don't see the Giants winning this game. It's in Dallas, and the Giants are coming off their worst game of the year. Cowboys coming off probably their best. Giants had a great start to the year, but I think it's just going to be downhill from here. Next game is Patriots-Vikings, and despite the blowout last week, I'm still going to predict the Vikings to get back on track and win this game. The Patriots just, as they showed last week, they just can't put points on the board. And the Jets, I'm not discrediting the Jets' defense at all, but they have a hard time figuring out a way to score. So, Vikings at home here on Thanksgiving, but expect this one to be a decently close game, but it's going to be pretty low scoring if it is. All right, so moving on to the Sunday games, we have Buccaneers-Browns, and this one's interesting because I originally read that the Deshaun Watson suspension was 11 games, but I guess counting the bye that puts him back in week 13. But I don't even think that would make a difference. I think the Bucs should win this game in Cleveland. The Browns played a close game against a pretty rattled Bills team, but expect Brady to show that he has just a little bit of juice left in the tank this week. Give me Bucs over the Browns in what you could possibly read even as an upset. Moving on, we have Bengals at Titans, and this is going to be a good game. Playoff rematch from last year. Expect a lot of the same. Expect Joe Burrow to be sacked a lot, but still expect the Bengals to win this game. It's going to be a close one, but the Bengals are, you can tell, slowly building that momentum up to probably a playoff chase, a wild card berth, and I think they should get it done at the 7-3 Titans. This, for whatever reason, is not an upset pick, but I kind of agree with the experts, if that makes any sense. Next game is Dolphins at Texans, and there's not really much to say for this game. The Dolphins should beat the Texans as long as Tua plays the whole game. He's still, I think, undefeated when he starts and finishes a game, so Dolphins at home pretty easily. And the next game, this is going to be probably my upset of the week, is Bears at Jets. And the Jets, they can't score. And the Patriots just locked down Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, he may be an NFL quarterback, but he's certainly not proven that so far. So this is going to be a tale of two run games, and I just think the Bears have the better run game in this situation. So give me the Bears at the Jets in the upset of the week. Next game is Falcons-Commanders, and this is going to be a tricky one to predict, but I'm just going to ride the Taylor Heineke ship until it sinks. Give me the Commanders at home against the Falcons. They beat the Eagles. They picked up a 2-score win at the Texans, which isn't too much, but it's still a win. They got the job done, so I think they should be able to beat the Falcons at home. Now, Broncos at Panthers in a Super Bowl 50 rematch. Not that that really matters in this game. Both teams are way far away from where they were here. But I'm going to pick the upset here, and I'm going to ride with my Panthers. The Broncos don't look good, and the Panthers are actually 3-3 at home. So when we're at home, we're a pretty decent team. So Broncos, I think, fall on the road this week after a home loss to the Raiders in overtime. Panthers at home, and Dante Foreman's going to have another big week, as he does when he plays bad teams. Next game is Ravens at Jaguars, and 7-3 at 3-7. The Jaguars have actually proven that they can stay close in a few decent games, but I don't really think that's going to be the case against the Ravens. The Ravens just beat the Panthers by only 10, but I think they rebound this week. Lamar Jackson was, I think, a little bit iffy with his illness, so give me the Ravens here in probably a decent blowout. Next game is Chargers at Cardinals, and the Chargers offense really relies on one man, which proved itself last week, and that's Mike Williams. And he just creates that great one-on-one threat that teams can't really seem to deal with, which opens up the way for their other huge weapons, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Austin Eckler out of the backfield. And if he's good to go, they win this game easily. The Cardinals, just came off a terrible loss, 38-10. in Mexico City against the Niners. But if Mike Williams does not play, expect this to be a closer game. But Justin Herbert got back on track with his man Keenan Allen last week, so expect the Chargers to win this game no matter what. Our next 4 o'clock game is going to be Raiders at Seahawks, and coming into the year, this is easily Raiders. They pick up Chandler Jones, they pick up Devontae Adams, but they just don't win games unless Derek Carr is clicking with Devontae Adams, and I don't expect that to happen this week. Watch for possibly a young Tariq Woolen to be on Devontae Adams and possibly even shut him down. I think the Seahawks win at home against obviously a very disappointing Raiders team and a very surprising Seahawks team. Next matchup is Rams at Chiefs, and coming into the year, this is possibly even a Super Bowl matchup or Super Bowl foreshadow, but not anymore. The Rams are 3-7, and they just lost to the Saints. I mean, they stink somehow. Bryce Perkins, I believe, is still going to start next week, and the Chiefs are favoring this game by 14.5, so easily give me Chiefs at home. And our last 4 o'clock game is going to be Saints at Niners, and the Niners last week really showed that they are that Super Bowl team. They picked up Christian McCaffrey, and now they're going to make a run. 38-10. 38 is a lot of points, and I expect them to do more of the same at home against the Saints this week. So give me Niners pretty easily here. And the Sunday night game, earlier I predict that Brady was going to show he had a little bit of juice left in the tank against the Browns. This is not going to be the case with Rodgers against the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to put Rodgers in fits with his not-so-great weapons, with his, a little bit deteriorating offense. It's just not looking good for the Packers at 4-7, and I swear every time I predict the Packers, I get it wrong. But I think that the Eagles can pull this off at home. And the Monday night game, I swear the NFL gives us the worst games on primetime, but Indy against Pittsburgh, I don't really know where to go for this game, but I'm going to actually take Pittsburgh on the road. The Colts just lost by only 1 to the Eagles, but Kenny Pickett has shown a little bit of promise. They put up 30 points last week against the Bengals, so let's see if Kenny Pickett can prove himself in not a prove-it year, but probably a prove-it game for him if he wants to easily win this starting job going forward. I don't know why there would be any question, but he can lock it up with a good game, and I think that's what he does. Steelers over Colts. And now my lines for this week. As I said, I think Brady's going to show that he still has it this week. I believe all his weapons are healthy. Rachaad White looked pretty good in Munich. So give me Bucks minus 3.5 at the Browns. As I said in a lot of my earlier videos, 3.5 is really not that much to cover. So expect the Bucks to win and win by more than 3.5. As I said earlier, I think the Eagles are just going to be throwing Rodgers for fits. So for my next line, give me Eagles minus 7 at home. I think they get back on track a little bit here. A loss to the Commanders, a 1-point win at the Colts. But now they're back in Philly after going to Indy, and I think they win this game by more than 7. And my next line, and this seems to be underrating the Ravens, I think a little bit, minus 4 at Jacksonville. The Ravens are a playoff team, and I think they could be a playoff contender. They obviously got Roquan Smith at the trade deadline, and their defense looks really good coming off that trade. So give me Ravens minus 4 at the Jags, and what I think to be a questionable line that could be updated as we see Lamar's health improve this week. And now for my starts this week. If you don't have him off your bench, take him off. James Conner against the Saints. I just think he's back to possibly even that second-round draft pick that we expected him to be coming into the year. He's not really that great of a running back, which is interesting, but he has great touchdown upside. He's still a great goal line guy. He got his touchdown against the Niners, and they only scored 10 points. So when they score points, oftentimes it's going to come from him. So get James Conner off your bench starting this week. And my next start is going to be Latavius Murray, a name that I have not said in forever. He was great. I don't even remember with who, but he bounced around. He was on the Ravens, possibly even went to the Bucks. I'm not quite sure. But he's on the Broncos now, and after them cutting Melvin Gordon, he's got that starting job. So start him this week against a Panthers run D that hasn't really had much to show for this year. And then my next start is going to be Rachaad White, and this is a little bit of a pair start sit, and I'll get into that later. But Rachaad White had 22 carries in Munich, outpacing his backfield partner Leonard Fournette, and he just looks better than Fournette did. He had that nasty stiff arm on possibly Quandre Diggs, I'm not quite sure. But he seems to maybe have even won the running back one job in Tampa, which I would have never expected going into the year. And the pair that he's going with, I'm sitting Leonard Fournette this week. I believe that he's no longer the running back one. He's at least going to be 1A, if not 1B or even 1-2 to Rachaad White. And have him on your bench this week. He's not improved on last year in the passing game, which he was looking to do, and his yards per carry are way down from the Fournette we were seeing in the beginning of the year. And my next pick, I know I keep saying I can't pick against the Packers, I can't pick with the Packers, but I'm sitting Aaron Rodgers this week. Eagles have obviously one of the top rated pass defenses in the league, CJGJ, big play Slay, and I think Rodgers, as I said, is just going to be thrown for fits in maybe a blowout. So have Rodgers on your bench if you have other options. And my next sit, and this goes along kind of with the Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette, but it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. And I think Tony Pollard has overtaken that RB1 job. The question is, can Zeke get the goal line touches? And he always will, unless they just don't get down to the goal line. And this week, I'm going to say that he does not have that huge touchdown upside, So have him on your bench. Tony Pollard, I think, is just a way better fantasy option, especially in PPR. And that's all I'm going to have for this week. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. And bye-bye. Signing off from Utah.